Without wasting time, I'm going to move on to the next speaker, Shyam Kumar Katta. He's already there because some of the speakers are still missing. So let me give a small introduction of Shyam Kumar Katta. With 19 years of experience, oversaw 19 projects from project inception through execution. These projects build the capacity of rural communities, empowering women, livelihood programs, climate resilience, agriculture and livestock to end hunger and poverty. Directed annual strategic planning and policy creation efforts for 87 global, domestic and local organizations whose scope has impacted over 2 million households in 6 states of India, Nepal and Mexico. Developed and organized project budgets totally over $95 million, responsible for allocating funds and recognized for transparent and ethical budget usage and sound financial techniques. This is wonderful introduction, and we would like to know more about the program from Shyam Kumar himself. So Shyam, the platform is yours. You have 15 minutes.
Thank you, Neelam. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful platform to be here. I thank all the speakers. I think that was very interesting to know the great work happening in the across the globe. Good. This is something which I would like to speak about, the narrative or the theory I have come across over the past experience which I have. I call it is as a 4C theory. In fact, there is one more C which needs to add to this, which is I will be speaking a bit about that. The 4C theory is basically the climate change, the big problem where the SDGs had a life to come into place based on climate change. We see agriculture is being almost wiped out because of extreme climate situations. I work with farmers. It's been 3 seasons, last 3 seasons, every time, including the seeding part, is been wiped out because of floods. And in some parts, it's extremely difficult because of drought. There's no rain. Now, people are dependent on rain-fed crops. So the biggest challenge which we are speaking about is climate change. The ELSA locations are disappearing. We don't have, we can't even to create ELSAs in some places. Second thing is the COVID. COVID has big impact on everyone's livelihood. And that was one of the major causes today which we are undergoing on food crisis. Every company, every nation is speaking about global food crisis. And we are in a situation where we need to look at it. Okay, and conflict. You have seen these countries against countries who are having conflicts, who are trying to gain for the political powers, who are having challenges, and that is indirectly or directly affecting the people, the global economy, or it's affecting climate change. So putting all this together, we are now in crisis, the crisis of food crisis. It could be recession, it could be economic crisis. Now, a lot of things which are being mapped around these challenges, these 4 C's. I would like to concentrate a bit more on to make you all understand what is that right now the biggest challenge which I will be speaking about. Since we spoke about climate change, so what happens is because of climate change, the production is almost all less. The production, the overall production is less. And with the increasing population, the consumption of food is gonna be a little high. One place we have less production, the other place we are gonna have high consumption. And the biggest problem here is whatever the production which we are having because of these different pests or pesticides which are being used, the food quality is come down. The nutrition in the food has come down. For example, I would like to give this. For example, going ahead maybe in the next couple of years, if a person is gonna consume 1 egg, and if there are the required nutrients of that particular egg are sufficient for 1 human being, But for him to have the same nutrition, he needs to consume 2 eggs, which means production is less, consumption is gonna high, and even the consumption, he needs to consume more to have the same nutrition which he wants to gain. So this is gonna create a big challenge, and it's gonna be a famine, which we need to look at it. And that is the reason why we are speaking about sustainable development goals today, how we are gonna mitigate this kind of challenges. Out of this, we are gonna hit about hunger, poverty, malnutrition. So it's a complete ecosystem which we are living in, where we need to work on this part so that we can have a better human life and better earth. So this is the theory which I speaking about, the theory of change, which we call in, okay, basically to focus on improvements of out of how poverty we can know, or vulnerability of sustainability for better resilience, which we can look at it. So the change of theory which we are working on, food security is absolutely one thing where we can have food security, and nutrition is something which we need to look at. Farmers are exiting farming. I keep interacting with farmers on a daily basis. I'm there in the cultivation. I keep talking to farmers, most of them. So they say that they would better lease the land or give it, or leave it barren, and go and work to cities where they can have at least 5,000, I mean, say at least or $10 to $15 of wages in a month, rather than working agriculture. So couple of other farmers, they say that they don't know even to go and work as a security guard or watchman or a labor in a city. So that's the reason they still keep doing agriculture, though it is lost. So if you look at a whole scenario, farmer, the main producers, the source of food, the person who is the source of food is not happy because of several reasons. One of the biggest reason is the climate change, which you are speaking about. So where we need to concentrate. So how can we create enterprise at the community level, within the farming sector itself? How can we make agriculture more sustainable? That is the biggest lookout today, which we are trying to speak about. Okay, and I'm sorry. Yeah, and creating incomes and assets. How can we create incomes and assets for them? For example, it could be a small unit where they produce the primary processing or the secondary processing, where it can happen at their own level, where enterprise can be built around, where people can get some kind of wages at their own community level. So this is something which we need to look at, how we create employable places within their communities, though they can make incomes for themselves, and there's a livelihood which is built in that location. And the environment. So it is very important for us to educate the importance of environments. How can we look at ELSAs, for example? I speak about ELSA. How can we create that? How can we educate them? It is the behavioral change of people which brings a change. The change cannot happen, we keep speaking here, but it's the behavioral change of the people which needs to keep changing, so that we can protect. So if you work on this, we promote women enterprise, especially I speak about women enterprise because women are more focused, they take up challenges, they give productivity much higher, and they are the people who care and who love. So that part, they play a very key role, and I'm very happy to see a lot of women speaking in the past 3 days on a lot of sustainable development goals and the activities they are doing. And last is, we build a community which works within and which can create a change. So, and sustainable community which we can look at for mitigating the challenges. So this is something how we work on. As I was mentioning, that it's very important we build self-employment at the grassroots levels, which is around agriculture, okay, and create rural entrepreneurs, build some kind of infrastructure. See, now the biggest challenge is, I have written a book very recently stating that how to mitigate food wastage. I keep speaking about this. There's a huge amount of food which is being wastages. Why? The answer is several, But one of the answer is there is no proper infrastructure, especially in the green food. There is no proper infrastructure, store, or the value chains which have been established, or the supply chains which are available for farmers at the grass level. The food is produced, but it's been wasted. So someone was mentioning, if at all a food wastage was a country, it would have been the biggest emissions which would been produced of that particular place. So it's very important where we try to build infrastructure so that we can save food rather than wasting food. We need to involve public-private partnerships. In fact, I call it as 4Cs, 4Ps, public-private partnerships plus the producer within this 4Ps. Producer being the center and the public-private partnerships to come in together so that there is a sustainability of agriculture where food is being secured. So I speak about life, producers are the life, and support is a community, the ecosystem which we build within themselves. They stand there. And the area which I speak about, basically we create a life. There is a saying in Telugu, Padi Panta, the word Padi Panta is basically family has got their own food. They never buy food out. So they give food out, in fact, a farmer family. But today's situation is farmer is dependent to buy food from outside. He's standing in queues to get his basic food for the house. So the situation needs to change to protect the environment. The situation needs to change to mitigate the food and hunger situations right now. So I would like to go with one big challenge, and I want to give this challenge to everyone who are participating in this particular sessions. So what is that commitment we are gonna to take to end hunger and poverty? This commitment, it should be a personal commitment, it should be a professional commitment, and what are the timelines which we are looking at, which actually can make a challenge. It can give you some kind of great feeling when we start working towards it. So we keep wasting food at home. We see people starving at food, but we still throw food. So what kind of commitment are you gonna make for yourself, for your family, for your organization, or the place where you are living in? Okay, so that's I leave with these 3 questions to you, so that you can think and try to work towards it, so that we can at least proudly speak in our next meetings or next places that I am not a person who is wasting food. I am concerned about the food, the hunger and poverty. So that gives us a great feeling. Thank you so much. I think I would stop here, and Ms. Neelam, thank you so much for the time you have given me. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shyam. And when you speak, I mean, I'm also recalling many things like wastage of food. A lot of grains are wasted because there is no place to keep them. So we don't have warehouses in the rural places. Farmers are losing a lot of crops and they can't hold it. So because I also work with the communities at the very grassroots level with very, very poor people. And I think you are also resonating with me at some point, which is very common for the poorest of the poor. So yeah. I think rather than just making commitments, I think we need to connect with each other. I mean, after the platform, because this seems to be a beginning of a new era, rather than having these conferences and having meals and speeches and going home. This is the time for commitment, as your last slide has portrayed very well, that we need to talk about ourselves, what commitment we want to have, and then talk to each other, create the partnerships, and then find solutions for the poorest of the poor. Minute we can do that, wastage will stop, climate change will improve, people will die of hunger, and things will start improving. So I think there's so much of mix of expertise that I'm hearing on this platform. And I just, want to think that this platform should not end in 3 days. We should keep talking to each other. Yeah. We should interact on WhatsApp messages. And there's so much to contribute from each other's learning. Exactly. And your presentation has taught me a lot. Thank you so much, Shyam. And let us be in touch. So.